In this tutorial, we'll show you how to set up funding options in strategic modeling. For forecast periods, specify how a model will behave when balancing the balance sheet by setting up funding options. You can use excess cash to pay down high-interest debt, and you can use it to buy back shares of stock. Items that can be used to balance the model are called funds. With a surplus of funds, find available uses of funds to balance. With a deficit of funds, find available sources of funds to balance. In order to guarantee that balancing can succeed, a model must provide at least one source and one use of funds that has no maximum value, and that can provide as large of a funding source or as large of a funding use as is required to balance. If you want to see fund characteristics, you can review their settings. Each fund has a type classification, such as asset or term debt. Zero-based funds include excess marketable securities and long-term debt excess. Some funds have no maximum specified. By default, minimum account values are 0. However, you can indicate whether users can set a minimum value used for a funding item. You can also indicate whether a minimum change amount is required before an account can be used as a source or use of funds. While you can always adjust these options, they are typically set once. Let's take a look at our available cash. The cash balance builds over time. We can also take a look at marketable securities, whose balance also builds over time. Senior management wants to evaluate options for making better use of cash. On the Funding Options page, how cash surplus is applied is listed on the left, and how cash deficit is funded is listed on the right. There are 3 distinct areas. The top section lists zero-based accounts. The bottom section is for the excess account. The middle section lists the accounts used either to apply cash surplus or fund cash deficit. You can add accounts or reorder accounts in this section. Currently, excess cash is used to pay down revolving line of credit and then accumulates in excess marketable securities. Cash deficits will be funded by selling marketable securities and issuing long-term debt excess. With standard mode, you focus on balancing the total sources of funds with the total uses of funds. I'll modify the funding routine to use excess cash to pay down high-interest debt. Pay off debt accounts with cash from surplus accounts. I'll specify which surplus accounts to go to which debt accounts and the order in which they should be repaid. I can also remove accounts. I'll apply excess cash to senior debt and remove the other accounts. Let's take a look at senior debt. I'll change cost of goods sold to reduce costs, which will increase our operating revenue and our available cash. Save and calculate to see the results. Cost of goods sold is reduced. If we take a look at senior debt, the value is reduced. Excess cash was applied to senior debt. We can see that marketable securities has been reduced. Let's go back to cost of goods sold. This time I'll increase my cost of goods sold. Marketable securities was reduced to account for the shortage. In this tutorial, you saw how to set up funding options in strategic modeling. To learn more, visit cloud.oracle.com.